I want to give a massive shout out to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. What I truly love about a game such as Raid is the ability to experiment with cool mechanics like creating an ideal team of champions by customizing their builds to have the best artifacts and best masteries. Then putting them to the test, either by fighting the many tough bosses and challenges of Raid, or, my personal favorite, fighting real players to find out who is truly the best. To all new Raid players, Raid has prepared something special for you. It's time to vote on your favorite starting champion. Download Raid Shadow Legend using my link in the description below, then grab your in-game player ID and go to championselect.playerium.com, simply enter your player ID and vote for your favorite champion. This vote runs from January 16th to February 10th, with all eligible players being given the opportunity to win some awesome in-game and real-life prizes, including epic and legendary champions, in-game items, and even Amazon gift cards worth up to $1,000. Be aware, only new players from the US can win a prize, and the vote ends on February 10th. Raid has just released some super amazing content. They released a brand new legendary champion based off of a pro wrestling legend, Ronda Rousey. You can get Ronda for free right now. It doesn't matter if you're a new player or a veteran. All you need to do is be logged into Raid and playing for 7 days between now and February 20th to earn this legendary champion. Honestly guys, I find myself playing Raid during the boring night times of rest. We've all been there, AFK waiting for something to happen, so why not have some fun and enjoy the beautiful graphics and chill gameplay of Raid. And if you haven't decided to start downloading Raid yet, stop waiting and click my link in the top of the description, or scan the QR code on screen now and you'll get tons of unique bonus loot worth $30, such as a free epic champion, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 epic skill tome. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. So make sure to click the link in the description to join me and millions of other players all around the world. Hello guys, my name is Nine and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new to my channel, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as it greatly helps everything that I'm doing here. And at this point, you guys are most likely wanting to see the cost and the upkeep of the base. So on screen now will be those numbers. Now be aware the build cost is decently high for this base, however the upkeep is extraordinarily cheap. So keep that in mind when building this base, as it's pretty easy to upkeep. Alright guys, without further ado, let's get into a tour. Alrighty guys, before we actually build the base, we of course need to go on a little tour. So starting at one of our 6 externals, the upkeep is going to be extremely similar on all of these. Very cheap, just 1,000 call it. And those are good. They're disconnectables. If I close these garage doors here, you place a twig roof like this, and this will disconnect. Then replacing in whatever grade you'd like. So here I'll show twig and upgrading it. And then to break it once again, roof tile like this. And one more time. Like that. Okay. So now entering in through our gatehouse, every single compound section will have an entrance and exit in and out of the compound, but this one is just the one with the most peaks. It's got very, very basic peaks into the outside and peaks into the compound. Basic, yet good. Coming into here, we're going to continue on our compound. As you can see, there's tons of room for large furnaces. I only put 1 in each of these sections. However, you can easily fit 2, maybe even 3. Now these are our other modules. You can see this is our one with turrets and stuff like this. And this other guy is going to be a bedroom module. And it's very simple, just a single door airlock type to the outside, and 2 beds and a locker. And this is also garage doored off, but you don't have to use garage doors, you can use double doors. And what's nice about these guys is they have flanks onto the outside of the base. And as you can see, more of the same, more room for furnaces, all this stuff, and yet just another one of these little compound sections. Now there are technically 4 entrances, what I'd call, into the base. These guys right here. So going in through the single door. On the right side, we go up to our starter unit. And as you can see, this kind of continues back to here, to this point. You can fill in this with garage doors or whatever. Right now it's not really needed. You can maybe put garage doors here and that will be your raid cost. But going into our starter unit here, single door airlock, and then I have one of the loot rooms entirely turned into furnaces, room for deployables, good amount of box space, and then our TC. Entire thing is honeycombed. This entire starter is honeycombed, so it's very good. This is our main TC upkeep, pretty darn cheap. Easily get a day, almost 2 on this TC. And then coming back outside, I'm going to quickly show you what it looks like on the other side of this guy. So we go all the way to the other side of the base. It just looks like this. And you can either turn it into a like a little bedroom right here is an option, or just leave it as a rotation in between here is what I'm kind of using it as. And then past this double door on every single entrance will be a entrance into the actual semi-open core main base. So here is our garage door. It's open, obviously. Furnace jump up, and this is a bunker module behind us. I will show us in a second. We're coming through into our semi-open core. Room for deployables, vending machines. I have our tier 3 here. I have a research table. You can put whatever you want here. And we have 2 of these semi-open core loot rooms. It has a core peak that watches directly onto here. There's no turret beyond it. However, it's great in an online raid defense scenario. And more than enough box space on each. And these guys are partitioned very heavily. So it's 1 on each side. And there is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Call it 4 or 5 doors in between the 2, which is absurd. And then these modules, now there's 4 of them, as you can kind of see here. These roof modules. If you place a twig roof triangle here above the entrance, it opens to a bunker. And each of these guys can have 4 boxes in there. Apologies for that one not being placed. And then this is breaking this guy. Down here would be our entrance. So we're using the entrance modules as, well, roof bunkers. And then there's 4 of these guys, so 4 roof bunkers, as you can see here. It's pretty darn cool. And then these furnace jump ups will go to our bed floor. Bed floor is just very simply partitioned. There's room for beds and all this, other deployables throughout. I like to put like mixing tables in this area I'm kind of walking around in now. But we have this little core peak that we showed off before. And as you can see, that's very effective for this angle. And then we have 2 bedrooms here. And you can, like I said, put more throughout this area and you'll be good. Next floor is our battery area. There's 1 of these on each side. So 2 batteries shown here. I also have alternate battery locations for those of you that watch the actual build. And coming into here on the shooting floor, we have underneath what would be these bunker modules. We have turrets above them, and then we have nice peeks into compounds. Just by these guys, we have beds in these sections, which also act as our roof pickups. And you don't have to open this garage door. These can be double doors, or they can be windows as well. And this is our roof pickups. And then there's 4 of these guys, and as you can see, very nice angles into compound. There isn't really any blind spots, which is awesome. As you can see, and yet another roof peak up to get over here. And that is pretty cool. Also, I like to put a little bit of box space on my shooting floor, as it's always nice. Now going up to roof, I'll show you the last. You can either take one of these garage door exits up, or you can go back inside by these batteries and take this as a normal jump up. And up here, as you can see, we have turret coverage under these low roof ramps. These roof pieces, just 4 turrets on roof. And I don't show the windmill placement yet, as it just looks better in the tour without them and all of that. So if you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns, please leave either a comment in the comment section down below, or join my Discord, link is obviously in the description, and we can talk there. Alright guys, love you all, and let's get into the actual build. Alright guys, obviously before we build the base, it's always good for you guys to see the footprint, so here's what we're working with. This right here is going to be our TC room, and everything in my crosshair will be the starter unit, so as you can tell, the entire thing is honeycombed on all sides. And then these guys will be our bunker modules, here, here, and the rest are just wide gap TCs. It's an older basic footprint, but I really like how we've kind of utilized it. So without further ado, I will be using a little bit of symmetry and all that kind of stuff in the actual base build, but you guys will see that. So let's get started. So starting off, I like to start with 1 triangle, and I'll be building out of stone right away to make it easy. I will grab 1 square and 2 more triangles. Now you have to build this entire thing right away, and I like to start it as a 2 triangle starter like this. And there's a million ways to do these, we all know. So just do whichever one you kind of find the best. And now, worst case, if this is your starter unit, this will do perfectly fine if you are soloing this. But right away, you're going to want to expand. So removing the door for the sake of convenience, we'll expand to the square and cap the entire guy in. Okay. Now adding a square off of this guy, walling it in, double door, make a shelf in this one, and capping the guy off. I personally would like to use ramps here, but they are not necessary. Placing these boxes like this. Now, at your earliest convenience, it's obviously good to get garage doors, but I know they take some time and all that to obtain. And then to get this frame in here, if you haven't already, you can jump outside and a shelf in here. I'm doing it out of twig to show it, like that. Okay. Now just kind of just going through the basic deployable placement. I like to use my tier 2 down here. I usually don't ever have a tier 3 in the starter unit. And this double door is always good. Bags in these slots, you can get 2 in here very easily. And now I'm just kind of coming through, and I'm deleting these double doors, but obviously you don't want to do that when you're actually playing the white. Now expanding one more triangle out. Apologies there. Another square to the side, walling them in, capping them off, and then coming to the next guy, and walling the entire guy in, and then 2 single doors here. And this is looking pretty good. Now we have a nice little airlock, and our unit has a very long door path, which is the point of all this. Double door leaving here is really good as it creates a secondary airlock like this. So double door here later is always awesome. And then I like to garage door these guys off. Earliest convenience. Alright, so while I'm placing some of the deployables here, I do want to run a little idea past you guys. So I had an idea where I could give away a base design from what I'd call my personal collection. So we'd have a giveaway in my Discord, and that giveaway in the Discord would then give away, basically just the winner would get to pick what size base they want, and I will make them a personal base they can do whatever they want with. If you guys are interested in that concept, leave me a comment down below. I'd be more than happy to kind of gauge interest on that, because it'd be something I'd 100% be willing to do, because I think it'd be really fun. So let me know. Alright. Now coming through here, the starter unit is practically done. You have room to spam bags throughout here. And even out through this area. I believe you can fit 3 more here. So tons of room for bags and all this stuff. This base is meant for only a few people, however you can shove a lot of guys in this thing, so it's not too much of a worry. So the next thing that I really like to do is I like to come to this outside wall where TC is, and I will actually armor my TC as soon as just humanly possible. And then the next thing is I will sheet metal this compartment next to it, like this. Coming inside, these are just kind of basic upgrades. If you just sheet metal all the roofing tiles, come into roof, sheet metal these guys in, you usually do pretty good. And now for the sake of symmetry, I'm going to be walling in this one, like this. Now I'm going to toggle some symmetry on here, and I'll show you what that means. Pretty simply, if I place a square off of this right here, a square will be placed off the opposite side. So 2 squares here. We're going to build these guys up 2 levels. And as you can see, it's building up on that opposite side. And I'll back up a second to let you guys get a hang of this. Okay. Now what I'd like to do is add a twig. I like to grab a foundation, put a half wall, floor triangle. Now coming in the inside of here, I'll come down to here, and if you fall in, obviously not good, but try to do it from here if you can maneuver your thing. Otherwise, another way to do it is sometimes you can get by looking straight down, but it's a little difficult, so be aware this placement is a little hard. Sometimes it's easiest just to fall into the triangle like this. Now I'll break these guys, and I can upgrade these to whatever grade is necessary. Switching back to my B grade, add a stone. I will add ramps like this, floor triangles, and add in my shelves. Now one guy is going to get a roof seal off, one is going to get a floor frame. You don't have to do this, it's personal preference. And that will be a little peak. And then I like to wall these guys in like this. Alrighty, now what you kind of like to pick pretty soon here is all these guys are gonna get doors like this. This is kind of how you can seal off this level, but it doesn't really matter. But what we'll do is we'll put windows here, and then we will put our door frames throughout every single interior slot. You can kind of see how this is taking shape. Now we build this off of the main entrance in the opposite side, one square out like that. And then I like to put a window, and I cap this guy off like this. This also can create another airlock by using those double doors you used in core previously. If you didn't have a use for them, you can kind of just slap them right here, and it adds another kind of airlock to this whole thing. Okay, now off these guys, we're going to honeycomb triangles like this. And on each side, what we're going to do, if you are looking at this triangle, the left side, or the outside towards the square, like the loot room square, will get a triangle. So this guy will get a triangle and a door frame, and then not the left side, so not the side towards the starter. Like this will get the door frame. And that way it's symmetrical on both sides. Okay. Now comes the multi-TC part, as it is kind of the most important. So, follow along with me. Twig now. From this door, the square on each side, you're going to build out 1, 2, 3 triangles. So it's kind of coming straight off of here, as if this was a circle, if you see this. And then we're going to go out 3 squares. Come back with triangles. Like this. Now you're left with a footprint like this. So it's like a kind of like a weird semicircle if you were to fill in these gaps here that are made on purpose. But we're going to place a square, square, triangle, square, and then that is your footprint off of here. And now we're going to do the exact same thing on this side, but first I'm going to add an external TC to this. And this is pretty darn simple. We'll square these guys up. Now, this will decay if you don't add frames on top, so you gotta add these guys like this. And then you don't have to do double door there. I actually prefer the single door. And I like to cap these guys off. Okay, so now we go 2 squares out. And I believe it's 2 squares. Then we do our gatehouse. Looks good. And on these guys, these gatehouses, personally, I like to do the bedroom module on these guys, but you could also just alternate these for just the turret pod normal entrances like any other base. I just really prefer these modules as they give you some nice and easy bedrooms and compounds. Now off of this guy, gonna build out a twig here, make our simple disconnectable. Then sheet metal in this guy, to make sure to use half walls here. And this is going to be room for 2 garage doors. Boom, boom. Now this base is not connected yet, so we got to break this twig and add our connection. That looks perfect. Alrighty, now we're going to do this exact same thing on this side, just I will be sped up a little bit. And apologies for the lag there, guys. So 3 triangles from here. 1, 2, 3 squares. Apologies about that. And we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're back. Make this footprint. We're good. So I'm gonna stone it and add our seal like this. Then we can go 1, 2. Now this becomes our little gatehouse. And like I said, switch this for any kind of gatehouse you want. These are just my personal preference. And now add a twig again. And this doesn't have to be wood, by the way. You can upgrade that to whatever grade you would like. I just like it wood when I'm building my things. It just kind of looks nice, out of all honesty. coming through here. External TC. Alrighty. Now for the last external TC, it's a little different, so we'll be going through this. This one does have 6 externals, which isn't the best, but it is okay. One triangle here, then we can break the triangle and place, I believe it's 4 squares. Coming back with triangles, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. And that completes our footprint, as you can see. Now that we know it's right, we can start her up. Same kind of thing, we're gonna go 3 out. This will be our gatehouse. Now, I'd like to do my gatehouses like this, with the low walls and half walls, and ramps. You gotta place these ramps before you place this roof on, like I'm doing now. And then above this one, we're gonna add spots for turret pods. And you can do the turret pods around all of them. I'll actually do it on this. I didn't do it in the actual build on, let's say, on the sanctuary. But it is never a bad idea to add these turret pods here. It'll give us a pretty darn good compound that way. Okay, coming back over here, not off topic, and make our disconnectable, per usual. Making sure to use half walls here. Adding our external TC in. Making sure to break this twig so you don't have issues later. And connecting it back. That is all 6 externals done. So awesome. So the next thing we will actually do here is, you don't have to do it in this order on a server or a live server, but personally I like to. I would now place my compound next, which is now. So we will go ahead and do that. So when placing this compound, I suggest alt looking. I like to start placing the compound off of these guys with the ramps first, like this, and I alt look to see the distance. So I alt look to my right or my left, whatever way it is, and then make it look the best it will look. So here, this guy looks pretty darn good, and that obviously looks pretty darn good. Same guy in here. I like to alt look it and make sure my angle is proper, and pretty darn good. And if there's a little gap here, it's not gonna hurt you, so I would not worry too much. And then these guys, doesn't matter which one you start off, just kind of make sure you alt look. And this compound is pretty large. I don't see you needing to expand it for any rhyme or reason. See, I kind of messed it up. You got to do it closer. This, boom. That's pretty darn good. There's a little gap there, but to be honest, that's not bad. And then these guys, you don't need 3 barricades on each. But I do suggest doing it if you make this with the half walls for the turret pods. It just kind of makes it harder for, I wouldn't say raiders, but I'd say grubs to get in your compound. Because you can kind of like separate these out a little more and make it more difficult. Then if you do 2, you can sometimes leave gaps if you're not experienced in that way and haven't done those before. But for now, we're doing pretty darn good. And kind of an obvious thing, add doors to your airlocks. Don't be like me when building the base on Sanctuary. That's an armored door. Apologies. Blanking. Add the doors that are necessary. Make sure you're all good. This compound now has tons of room for you to place your large furnaces, which I can even show now. Why not? Tons of room. You can either put 1 in each of these sections, or as you can see here, easily fit 2, but just for now, why not just put 1 for the simplicity? More than enough room for furnaces, and now we'll keep building the base. Now above that airlock, above TC, we're going to be sealing this guy off fully. And then this guy is our jump up to the next level, so we're just going to seal him off like this and double door him. Now this part is a little wacky, so you're going to have to go with me. We'll do this on all 4 sides for the bunker, but I'll do this out of sheet metal as this is the desired grade. Placing 3 walls around like this. Now what we're going to want to do is place the wall on here. And my technical way to make sure it always works is I like to place this twig to open the bunker wall to show that it works. Now if I mess something up, the bunker will close and I'll know right away. So coming out above here, I will then seal off every part here. This guy can get sealed off, and we'll show the actual way of sealing this off. I'll put my wall here. I'll put my shelf in here. Oh, and if you're on PC and want very dirty bunker or battery locations, put your batteries in here. You don't need 16 boxes of loot space in your bunkers. There's 4 bunkers, might as well utilize them for battery bunkers. That's a very powerful technique. Now, to place this floor triangle, it's gonna be a little wonky. It's gonna wanna jump to this side over here. Make sure it comes towards you like this. Like that. And boom, this is your entire bunker module. And you can still fit a good amount of box space in here. You can easily get 2 boxes in on this side, and then make sure to garage this door off this so they can't despawn the loot. And if you do this other variant, I'd say, you can still fit small boxes through this section here. So don't think you're losing out on too much space by putting a battery in there. I just don't like to show on the tour because I don't want them rating these for batteries. Now, coming through here, we're going to actually place some of the deployables that are necessary. I like to garage door spam the absolute heck out of this area. And now here, we're going to make our next bunker. Upgrading these guys, sealing this guy off. This becomes our bunker wall. Here, obviously don't seal yourself in. Twig. Jumping into this guy. And now this one we'll just do as a very basic guy with just the 4 boxes. And you can even fit smalls in here. I just prefer not to, as it's easy. It's all personal preference. Now make sure to place this guy like so, and these guys like that. Absolutely perfect. And you can see this from an overhead view now. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start walling in the next area. So walling in the top of these squares, sealing them off, capping them off, and then come over this section. I like to place these triangles first, but first I'm going to seal or honeycomb in above that very bottom airlock. Yet again, as that's just a huge piece of honeycomb. And now coming over to here, I like to stand right here when placing these, as sometimes it's easier. But if you're still having troubles, come above like this. I want you to place roof tiles like this. And placing a wall here. Now something to note is if you do this out of operations, we'll call it, you can't place these guys here. It's not possible. So try to place these guys first, then these guys like this. Apologies about that. That gets a little confusing. And even if it does get connected to the outer side, where you have to connect it to the what will be these wide gaps, the peaks won't change too much. You'll actually get still good peaks, so don't worry too much. But same thing on this guy. Come in here, seal this guy off, roof triangles. And the reason that we do this is to kind of cover more of the top gaps here. This is that was shown this by Spinky, so thank you very much, my friend. This top section, as you can see, tons of room for beds or whatever. This is personally how I like to do it. I don't even like to really garage door this floor. I usually spam all my excess double doors in a floor like this because these are bedrooms here. Why not spam the double doors that would otherwise be wasted? And then you can garage door this one if you want, but it's, like I say a lot, it's personal preference. Removing this double door, placing it with the garage door, and building up the next level. Now to the side of here, this can keep going to roof, but these 2 inner triangles, I like to turn into battery rooms. And then this will be an exit out. So these guys will become batteries. So if you didn't want to use those other ones I showed you, these are also pretty cool spots. And I don't like using garage doors here as it's a waste of gears. And we'll actually go ahead and just garage door this guy off right away. And get him done. And that's the roof, technically. Now we're on this would be the shooting floor level right here. And this used, or non-used space, the best use for this is turning these guys into bedrooms. And all we're doing to do that is simply walling these guys in like this. And then I like to swing this door like this. And to place and show the bedroom placement, it's very simple. Locker, bed. Coming to this guy. Door swinging out. is the easiest way to place this guy. And you're good. Very simple, very simplistic bedroom. Okay, next part we're going to do is we're obviously going to keep building up on top of these bunker modules. Then, on the bottom of here, these squares, build them up to the same height. Off of all the frames. I'll fly back a second so I'm not going too fast. So that's what it should look like. Here's a different angle. Yet another. Alright. Capping these guys off. We're gonna have half walls in like this. Like 2 half walls like this. Window. Window. Another half wall. Make a shelf in here. This is where that turret is going to go below. You can actually put loot to the sides of these or whatever you want. And then you can either put a window and a single door, or you can put a double door and a single door, or kind of any variant you want. You could also just put a wall there. It's all personal preference. But like this, those are the wrong tiles. Use triangle tiles for that look. Coming onto this guy. Same gig. And I'll show it from a little different speed and angle yet again. And then I like to grab this guy. Windows there. This guy like this. And there'll be a roof tile like that. Very simple. Embrasures. Like this. You can change up the embrasure types if you'd like to. Apologies for the lag there, boys. And now we have this last one section. If you haven't already, I do suggest upgrading the foundations of at least all the squares on these guys. But here we go. Next part, we're literally just going to be building these guys out of sheet metal 3 up. And just for resource effectiveness, square we'll use just stone in that middle guy. Now we'll put a triangle here, a triangle here, a triangle here. Windows like this. Half walls all in like this guy. Oop. Single door frame. And then on top of these, we like to seal this off. And now what we'll do is we'll actually seal this guy off proper. As you can kind of see. Then what we'll do is we'll add roof tiles going out on these two. And on these guys. Now as you can see here, I used embrasures in this one, and on this one I used doors. You can either, I like to do the garage doors in here, just so if you want any other way up to roof, it's there for you. And then another thing to show is how the bed kind of goes. I like to put the locker either this corner right here, like that, and then the bed like that. You can still even use this peak. Sometimes a little buggy, but it works. And same thing over here. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Come over here. You don't have to do a ramp here, but for aesthetics, ramp, boxes. Keep getting our embrasures in. These embrasures here do matter to me for those. And I will come here and single door off all the guys that I missed, like that. Now on a roof, you may be wondering, like I said before, where the windmill locations go. There's many spots for them. You can either A, put them straight off of the gatehouses. That gives you 6 very, very easily if you want to do it that way, if you have trouble like building up all the way to roof. But if you don't, what I might suggest is either A, building off of this guy right here, because you can build this guy all the way up to add stability. And then this guy should go 3 high, 2 high rather. Base is taller than I remember. And I've lied per usual. So let me restart that and come over here. You can either put them on top of these guys, now that I realize, which is a good spot, or another decent spot if you only want 2. is building these guys 3 high. That looks much better. Apologies about that, guys. We all make mistakes. I'm not the best. And if I can get the placement proper, windmills like that. You can still do vending machine bunkers on the roof, by the way, if you really want to. However, with the 6 bunkers, or the 4 bunkers rather, that I have given you, I felt they weren't really necessary. So just a kind of a thing to throw out there. But at this point, we are pretty darn done with the base build. I will now be going through tons of deployable placement and all of that stuff. So if you have any questions, make sure to jump down in the description below. And I'm just going to be going on a kind of an upgrade spree of everything that you'd want to upgrade. So interior wise, everything on the entire core, you sheet metal. On these loot rooms especially, I suggest coming to the outside and literally just sheet metaling the entire part. So everything from the outside, because they are technically one walls, they are partitioned from the interior, but from the exterior, they are technically weaker. These walls on the left and the right technically don't matter. But if you want to upgrade the more important one, I suggest upgrading this one, like that. Now, if you want to have vending machines in here, like I did in the tour, place them like this. And then if you don't want to hear them through this other side, add an embrasure like this. Little things. Alrighty, now I'm going to be toggling off symmetry as I'll be doing a little more unique placement. Tier 3 I like to put right here. And then you can either put a research table or whatever you want on the other one, but for now I don't have one in my inventory, so we'll slap a locker here. Bags anywhere throughout any of this stuff. We'll retoggle symmetry. I'm going to show you some box placements. Now every single door in this base, if you have them, this base really gets very expensive the more garage doors you have. So your ability to obtain garage doors and spam them on this level just increases the bunker cost even more so, where the more effective route is literally just to leave the base. And then these boxes will be annoying place if this wall is here or this ramp is there. So place those guys down on the bottom. Place this guy as far back and to the right as possible, and as far back to the left. Make sure the garage door is on before placing this box, if I can get it to have it right there. And then you can either do a 3 box on top, which I'll do here, or you can use small boxes to get slightly more space. That one's all personal preference. So breaking this guy, I do not know what I broke on accident. A door. Coming into here, we can spam these boxes. And I personally don't like to do 5 boxes on this loot room here, because this right box gets really annoying to reach sometimes. If you were to place a box here, as you can tell, this kind of just will seem annoying, so we won't even. Okay, so the next important thing that I like to add is I like to make sheet metal triangles here. It won't stop the bunker from opening, as you can see here, but it kind of just adds like an extra, like, it's much harder to see into open core, because see here, you can see those boxes. By adding this ramp here, or a wall if you really want to, but I really don't suggest it because this upper part is going to stop that, use a ramp tile like that. Perfect. You can also add ladder hatch frames here if you want. A lot of this stuff is personal preference. So this floor is perfect. It is super partitioned and awesome. And coming down to here, we will now upgrade kind of everything on the outside. So anything on this first level that you can see from this like ring around, this wraparound ring, sheet metal it. Everything you can. Just do it. It'll be very beneficial in a raid. That looks weird. Now, same in this section. If and when you ever get around to getting garage door, or not garage doors, but armor doors, these are the spots for it. If you get an armor door, make sure to upgrade the frame to sheet metal. Now coming on the inside here, either upgrade this guy like this to an armored door, or just garage door off. This entire core is actually extremely effective, even just in a sheet metal phase. So even if it's not, we'll say all high qual, it's gonna be good. We did high qual this wall much earlier, and you should be able to reach that one. But sheet metal this entire section in, excuse me, and coming down here, high qual this section in like this. And that's the effective raid for this guy. The only other thing to upgrade is technically these 2 tiles. this is going to give you the effective raid cost that we're kind of searching for. And apologies, I never placed these boxes, but very simple. Alrighty, you can still go ahead, and the reason we say to upgrade the back wall or the outside walls, because sometimes you can't reach these walls depending on when you upgraded, so it's not too much of a worry. But basically just sheet metal everything in this open core, or this, not this open core, but this first floor. But this floor is mainly meant to be a kind of not used after, it's just a starter, so it's not going to be used super long into the white. Alrighty, the last thing to place are some more doors and embrasures over here and in our other gatehouse. I like to glass one of these off, and then coming into this guy, I don't like to put a secondary embrasure in here. I just like to do this, and then either a double door or a garage door, personal preference here. And bed like this. And that about does it right there for the entirety of the base build. So if you guys, yet again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you'd like to know, leave a comment down below. I try to respond to as much as I can, even though nowadays it's been a little harder. So please keep asking questions. I am more than happy to answer as many as I humanly can. And ignore that this is decaying. This technically doesn't have a TC right now, but no worries. You would have placed all of them. These can get doors like this. And all these sections, garage door. Showing that again, garage door, boom. And a single door. And our last furnace jump up. But it looks pretty darn cool. So, I didn't have symmetry on the entire time, but it's okay. We'll look from this side. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave me a comment. I love you all, and I hope you have an amazing day.